Welcome to the McDowell County Schools Coaches Policy Training and Review. Today we will review several policies and procedures as noted on your screen. Please remember that this is not the full version of the policies. You can find full version of county and state policies at the appropriate website. This is just an overview. We'll now move on to the disability harassment discrimination policy for students and employees. Of course, discrimination is strictly prohibited. The McDowell County Schools and West Virginia Department of Ed do not discriminate on the basis of sex, race, color, national origin, religion, disability, gender, sexual orientation, and age in employment and in the administration of any of its educational programs and activities. Harassment and discrimination. What is it? Unwanted or unwelcome conduct or communication that has the purpose or effect of substantially or unreasonably interfering with an individual's employment or education, or creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive employment or educational environment. Harassment and or discrimination are illegal under the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title IX of the Education Amendment of 1972, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 for students and employees. School personnel are required to do the following: report an incident to their immediate supervisor, submit a written report of the incident, including the person's name, complaint, date, time, location, to their immediate supervisor, and the immediate supervisor will log the report the same day with the superintendent of schools and or her designee. Let's review the Employee Code of Conduct. All employees shall exhibit professional behavior by showing positive examples of preparedness, communication, fairness, punctuality, attendance, language, and most of all, be a professional employee of McDowell County Schools. All employees shall exhibit professional behavior by showing positive examples of preparedness. Contribute, cooperate, and participate in creating an environment in which all employees, students are accepted and are provided the opportunity to achieve at the highest levels in the area of development. All employees shall maintain a safe and healthy environment free from harassment, intimidation, bullying, substance abuse, and or violence, and free from bias and discrimination. All employees shall create a culture of caring through understanding and support. All employees shall immediately intervene in any code of conduct violation that has a negative impact on students in a manner that preserves confidentiality and the dignity of each person involved. All employees shall demonstrate responsible citizenship by maintaining a high standard of conduct, self-control, and moral and ethical behavior. All employees shall comply with federal and West Virginia laws, policies, regulations, and procedures. Let's talk a little bit about the inappropriate physical and emotional boundaries. Behavior between educators and students must serve a demonstrated educational, health, or safety purpose. There should always be firm boundaries between an educator and students. Even taking into consideration pre-existing and familial relationships, impropriety and favorism can still occur. The following items should be of concern, especially when they occur in secret without the knowledge of administrators and or parents. Level 1. Taking an undue interest in a particular student. Favoring certain students by giving them special privileges or status, such as performing personal errands for the educator unrelated to educational purpose. Inviting or allowing certain students to come to the classroom at non-class times. Getting a particular student out of class to visit the teacher during the teacher's prep period. engaging in peer-like behavior with students. Level 2, using poor judgment regarding a particular student. Some examples: allowing students to address the educator in non-professional ways. That is, for example, by their first name, nicknames, pet names. Allowing students to get away with clear inappropriate behaviors. Being alone with students behind closed doors, at school, out of view of others. Exchanging gifts, cards, or money with a particular student. Being overly touchy with certain students, teaching students for no educational or health reason. Giving students ride in the educator's personally owned vehicle, especially alone. Frequent electronic communications or phone contacts with a particular student. Level 3, personal life involvement. Here are some examples. Talking to the student about the educator's personal problems or issues. Talking to the student about the student's personal problem to the extent that the adult becomes a confidant of the student when it is not the adult's job to do so. That is, this person is not employed as a counselor. Initiating or extending contact with students beyond the school day. Taking a particular student on outings, especially personal outings, away from protective adults. Using personal or internet communications to discuss personal topics with interest with students. Being connected to a student via a social media communications platform outside of an athletic or school account, such as Snapchat, Whisper, WhatsApp, GroupMe, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook. Level 4, not respecting normal boundaries, especially if invited or unwelcomed. Invading the student's physical privacy. For example, walking in on the student in the bathroom or a changing room. Inviting students to the educator's home. Visiting the student's home without the presence of parents or guardians. Asking the student to keep certain things secret from his or her parents. Socializing where the students are consuming tobacco, alcohol, or drugs. Level 5, sexually related conduct, especially if uninvited and unwelcomed. Engaging in sex talk with students, including jokes and banters and innuendos. Talking with a student about sexual topics that are not related to a specific curriculum. Showing or sending pornography to a student. Hugging, kissing, or other affectionate physical contact with the student. Many of these behaviors are acceptable between consenting peers. However, educators and students are not peers. There is no place for peer-like behavior between educators and students. The more of each specific violation that occurs between an educator and a student, the more frequently the violations occur between the educator and a student, and when they occur in secret, the risk increases that the educator is sexually grooming the student. If so, physical, sexual, or romantic contact may occur or has occurred. Policy 5310 and County Policy 8-040 for coaches. Performance evaluation of coaching personnel. Performance levels. Exemplary, exceed standards, meet standards, or unsatisfactory ratings is assigned to the performance of the professional support personnel, central office personnel, or an athletic coach. Let's review the scale for assessing performance criteria. First, exemplary. The performance is consistently exceptional in meeting performance criteria demonstrated by providing extraordinary opportunities for student success. Next is exceed standards. This is where the performance is consistently above average in meeting performance criteria demonstrated by going beyond the established standards and instructional practices in reaching all students. Next is meets standards. Performance is consistently adequate in meeting performance criteria. And finally, unsatisfactory, where performance is not consistently acceptable in meeting performance criteria. The evaluation process for athletic coaches. The primary purpose of the evaluation is to provide information necessary to make an objective assessment of the performance of coaches and assistant coaches, and to ensure that quality coaching is provided to the student athlete. A minimum of one written evaluation per coach's and assistant coach's contract period is required each year. Principals, assistant principals, or athletic directors who hold an administrative certificate according to West Virginia Code shall evaluate coaches and assistant coaches. The principal, assistant principal, or athletic director shall conduct observations and evaluations of head coaches. A minimum of 2 observations are required for each evaluation. The principal, assistant principal, or athletic director, with input from the head coach, shall conduct observations and evaluations of assistant coaches. A minimum of 2 observations are required for each evaluation. The principal, assistant principal, or athletic director shall share the evaluation with the coach and assistant coach during a scheduled conference and within a 4-week period at the conclusion of each sports season, as defined by the West Virginia SSAC. The coaches and assistant coaches have the right to include a written statement as an addendum to the evaluation. The coach and/or assistant coach shall sign the evaluation form denoting that the supervisor has reviewed the evaluation with the coach and the coach has received a copy. The signature shall not imply concurrence with the findings. Improvement plan for coaches. An improvement plan shall be developed by the principal, assistant principal, or athletic director who holds an administrative certificate. When a coach's performance is unsatisfactory in an area of coaching responsibility, as contained in this policy. The improvement plan shall designate how the coach shall meet performance criteria. The improvement plan shall identify the deficiency or deficiencies, specify the corrective action to remediate the deficiencies, contain the time frame for monitoring and deadlines for meeting the criteria, and in no case shall an improvement plan be for more than 1 semester in length, and describe the resources and assistance available to assist in correcting the deficiency or the deficiencies. After a coach has successfully corrected deficiencies, the coach must continue to meet standards. A referral to an improvement team for a coach whose evaluation is unsatisfactory may occur when the supervisor determines he or she needs such assistance. The coach may request the assistance of an improvement team. Athletic coaches' responsibilities. In addition to the established laws, rules, policies, and regulations, job descriptions for coaching shall include the following responsibilities: communicating with parents and the educational community, professional and interpersonal relations, and implementing fundamental sports skills and sports management systems, coaching and related areas. Athletic coaches' performance criteria. Performance criteria in this section are the state-adopted responsibilities for coaches. The purpose is to clarify coaching responsibilities and help provide guidance to the coach in understanding job expectations. Professional and interpersonal relations. The definition: communicates with educational personnel, parents, students, and others. Items that may be used to reflect professional and interpersonal relations. Cooperates with the building principal. Cooperates with the athletic director. Develops rapport with coaching staff within the school. Organizes coaching staff. Develops positive relationships with participants, the student body, the faculty, with parents and community, and with game officials. To continue, The athletic coach performance criteria also includes developing positive relationships with news media, with opponents, employs appropriate conduct during games and practices, attends league, conference, and SSAC meetings, participates in activities that foster professional growth and development, motivates staff and players towards desired goals, and commands respect by example in appearance, manners, behavior, and language. Coaching in related areas. The definition: organizes strategies for teaching sports skills and sports management systems. Items that may be used to reflect coaching in related areas. A high caliber and quality instruction. Teaches fundamental skills. Handles athletic injuries. Cares for equipment. Supervises participants and disciplines team appropriately. Designs quality organization of practice sessions. Designs pre-season planning. Supervises managers and other support personnel. Manages a budget. Follows purchasing procedures. Initiates game organization skills. Follows league conference and SSAC policies. Devotes time and energy to coaching duties, and follows end-of-season procedures. Coaching essential duties and responsibilities. Essential duties and responsibilities of the head coach. Assume responsibility for all matters relating to the organization and administration of the team under his or her direction. Plan, organize, and schedule a regular program of practices during the season. Coordinate with other head coaches the legal practicing in the off-season. A schedule must be submitted to the athletic director by June the 1st. Enforce discipline and sportsmanlike behaviors at all times. And establish and oversee penalties for breach of such standards by individual participants. The head coach must make participants aware of rules and penalties at the beginning of the season. Know and enforce all county, school, Department of Education, SSAC, and federal rules and regulations. This would include team travel, school, and transportation policies. Develop high caliber of quality instruction by teaching the necessary fundamental skills necessary for the athlete to achieve personal and team success. Develop positive relationships with the following: the sport participants, the student body, faculty, parents, and community, the county, game officials, news media, opponents, athletic administrator, and principal. Delegate responsibilities to his or her coaching staff and their assigned duties with the approval of the athletic administrator or principal. Maintain and prepare for use equipment as well as practice and game areas with concern for safety to the student athlete. Prepare detailed equipment and supply request list and submit it to the athletic administrator 2 weeks after the conclusion of the season. Keep informed of academic progress of student athletes. Assist in fundraising activities and events for the total athletic program. Handle all athletic injuries in lieu of an athletic trainer. Prepare a list of winners and award winners for the sport and turn the list into the athletic administrator within 10 days of the conclusion of the season. Assume responsibility for supervision of student athletes before and after games and practices until all student athletes have left the school property. This would include supervision in the locker room and on the bus. Supervise assistant coaches, managers, and other support personnel in cooperation with the principal and athletic administrator. Attend county staff development sessions on an annual basis. Attend league, conference, and mandatory SSAC meetings. Participate in activities that foster professional growth and development. Motivate staff and players toward your desired goals. Command respect by example in appearance, manners, behavior, and language. Assume other duties as assigned by the principal and/or athletic administrator. Participate in activities that foster professional growth and development. Motivate staff and players toward your desired goals. Command respect by example in appearance, manners, behavior, and language. Assume other duties as assigned by the principal or athletic administrator. You may be responsible for planning and implementing designated co-curricular activities and or programs at the school, such as curricular fairs, awards programs, and field trips. And now we will review essential duties and responsibilities of the assistant coach. Support the head coach in the development of his or her particular sport and the overall program. Fulfill all responsibilities assigned by the head coach with approval of the athletic administrator and principal. Assume the responsibility of head coach when necessary. Assist in fundraising activities and events for the total program. Follow all SSAC rules, school, county, state, and federal guidelines and rules. Develop positive relationships with the following: the sport participants, the student body, faculty, parents, community, county, game officials, news media, opponents, athletic administrator, and principal. Motivate staff and players toward your desired goals. Command respect by example in appearance, manners, behavior, and language. Implement fundamental sports skills and sports management system as directed by the head coach. Perform other duties as assigned by the principal and or athletic administrator. The employee shall remain free from any alcohol or non-prescribed drugs while in the workplace. Alcohol and controlled substances which affect employees' productivity, safety, or judgment in the workplace will not be tolerated. For more information, again, to review the policies from the Department of Ed, the McDowell County policies, please refer to the two websites that are listed on your screen. And as always, feel free to call the central office staff at 304-436-8441 and someone will be able to help you. Thank you.